Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video, I will be bringing you guys a Washington football team 2021 salary cap breakdown. I'll let you guys know how much cap space we currently have, how much cap space we will have after making a few key cuts, and how much cap space we will have entering free agency after we re-sign our main guys. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. So let's get right into the video. The Washington football team is actually in a very good salary cap situation right now heading into free agency, and that is before making a couple key cuts or, Alex Smith possibly retiring. If you look at this graph, it shows the salary cap space that a team has versus their win percentage, and we're actually in a pretty good spot right now. We're right about in the middle when it comes to win percentage, but when it comes to total cap, we're right up there, and we currently have the fifth most cap space right now, which is it's a really good situation to be in, especially having a very young team heading into free agency. We right now have $43,525,000 in cap space, and keep in mind, this is with the projected cap being $176 million. That could go up, It did take a dip, but they haven't finalized it yet. So it actually could be a lot more than 176. So let's say it's 186, then that would mean we would have about $53 million in cap space before free agency would start. Also, that would see that all the other teams would add $10 million. So this is going to be a very interesting offseason, because you look at right now, all the teams that are in the red, a lot of teams are most likely going to have to cut some key players or not re-sign some key players to stay, under the cap. So it's going to be a very interesting situation to monitor this offseason. But good thing is, we aren't in that situation. We're top 5 in cap space right now. And, I did this on Spot Track. They're a little less accurate, so I had to, move some things around to put us at $43 million in cap space. So obviously, some big moves that could be made to free up some cap space. Obviously, the first thing is if Alex Smith retires, or if we just end up cutting him. I don't think we're going to cut him, but definitely I think if he chooses not to retire, which is it's definitely a possibility, then I think we would probably restructure the contract, because there's no way for him to be a backup quarterback, we would have him on the roster for $24 million. That's just too much. So if we do release Alex Smith, it saves about $14 million in cap. And if you look at that right there, that would put us at about $57 million in cap. We would still be in 5th place, but would be or 5th most cap space, but we'd be over $17 million or $15 million, over the next team. So we would be in a great cap situation, $57 million. And just to remind you guys, if a guy signs let's say a 3-year deal worth $30 million, the cap hit isn't necessarily going to be $10 million. There's some signing bonuses. There's some other things to factor in there. So the cap hit for that deal in the first year might be $6 or $7 million. So we're going to be able to sign more people than you guys think. Real quick, before we get into the numbers of the players that we re-sign, like Brandon Sheriff, Ronald Darby, and some others, let's take a look at some other cuts that we could end up making to free up some more cap space. There aren't too many, but there are some that we could make. So obviously, I think Troy Apke, he might be on this roster, but I think there's a strong possibility he isn't on this roster next year. He's a good special teamer, but we have DeShazier Everett, who's great, who's been a solid safety for us, and he's also a solid special teamer. We have Jeremy Reeves, who emerged over Troy Apke, so I don't see him being here next year. I really don't. And we already released Josh Harvey-Clemens, so they haven't taken that into account. And those are really the only ones that I see happening. There could be a couple other ones, but right now I don't see it happening until, final cuts are made. They'll probably cut a couple more players, around rookie minicamp, but we're probably going to head into free agency, if the cap is at $176 million, we're probably going to be at around $58 million. Remember, Spot Track isn't perfect, so their numbers are a little bit off. This number right here is a little bit off, but that's a very good situation to be in, heading into free agency before we end up re-signing our guys. And like I said, people that we're going to consider re-signing this offseason: Brandon Sheriff, Ronald Darby, Taylor Heineke, and you also add in there Kyle Allen, which we can keep for very cheap, which I will get into. And there also are some, contract extensions that we could make. I do believe next year is Jonathan Allen's last season here, so they might want to make an extension this offseason. That is something to monitor. Also, maybe Tim Settle and some others, so keep your eye out for that. That could happen in the next coming weeks/months. So the deal, let's go over some of the deals we could make with our own players, in terms of re-signing our guys. So obviously, the biggest one here is Brandon Sheriff. That's going to be a huge deal, and I do really think they're going to want to keep him in DC. He made an All-Pro first team, which hasn't happened since 1996, which is insane, and they're going to want to re-sign him. He's a team captain, he's a good leader, and he's our best offensive lineman and is one of the best in all of football. So we're going to make it a priority to keep him around this offseason, and I think we would most likely pay him around $13 to $16 million a year, really depending. It really depends on how everything goes out. But again, that doesn't mean our cap would go from 58 down to 43. That's not what would happen. The cap hits are different with each deal, especially with signing bonuses, and some teams like to backload contracts. So that's something to keep in mind. Another guy, like I said, Ronald Darby, I really think they want to re-sign him, and there's been some news that has come out that Darby wants to come back. He's had a good year. He likes the coaching staff. He likes the scheme. He is from this area, and, it's mutual. Both sides want to get a deal done. So I'm thinking it's going to be around $7 to $10 million around per year. Like Sheriff's is going to be around $13 to $16 million a year. But Darby, he's been a solid corner for us, and he's not a number one, but he's a solid starting cornerback in the NFL. And again, next year the cap is going to go up by so much, and the years, with the new TV deal. So they might have a low cap hit for this year with these deals and a higher cap hit in the next couple years, just because the cap is going to be so much higher in the coming years. So I think we need to re-sign Darby and possibly even sign another cornerback in this offseason. Like you see right here, Chase Roulier's deal was about, I think $8 or $9 million a year. I'm not completely sure, but his cap hit was only $4.5 million. Another guy that we're probably going to re-sign, and this is close to a lock, is Kyle Allen because of his status. He's a restricted free agent, but also due to how it works out, we only have to pay him around $850,000 to $900,000, and he has to come back to us. So that is also a very good deal right there for a backup quarterback, or third string if you guys think Taylor Heineke beats him out. And then Taylor Heineke, he's a restricted free agent. They're probably going to pay him around $2.4 million to bring him back next season. He's a restricted free agent, so if a team offers him, let's say, $4 million a year, we would be able to match that offer. So those guys. I'm confident at least 3 out of those 4 are gonna come back. Probably more likely than not, all 4 of those guys will come back, and we'll still be in a very good situation. Cap-wise, we'll still be able to address our biggest needs in the offseason, including wide receiver. I think they're going to be aggressive in getting a wide receiver. And really, it depends on the quarterback situation. If they go after a big-name quarterback that's making over $25 million a year, then they're probably not going to go after someone like Allen Robinson. They would probably go after more wide receiver 2, like maybe Curtis Samuel, Marvin Jones, Corey Davis. I think is going to be a little too expensive, but he is a wide receiver 2 in my opinion. But it just depends on what we do with the quarterback situation, because if we spend a lot of money there, it's going to be a lot harder to spend money elsewhere. So again, that is another thing to keep in mind. And yeah, we're in a good situation cap wise. Again, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those post notifications so you never miss a video. And peace.